It took them long enough, but this is the first wheel Fanatec has made that I would call ideal. And what makes me say that? Well, the Formula V2 was too small, the CSL wheel too plasticky, the M4 wheel too expensive, the Vision GT too weird. The Formula V3 is none of those things, making it in my eyes the best and most balanced choice for a Fanatec wheel with a reasonable price to go with it. This should be the automatic go-to option, unless you have a specific reason not to. Let's have a look around so you know what you're getting. Before we begin, you need to know that Fanatec has provided the Formula V3 in exchange for review, and I am also a Fanatec affiliate, meaning that if you use the link in the video description, or you use my 5% discount code DanielE5 on Fanatec's official sites, I may be paid commission by Fanatec. Thank you for doing so. If you do, it does support me directly. But for all of these reasons, I always declare videos like this as paid promotion within YouTube. The Formula V3 is the latest revision of a design that's been with us now for roughly 15 years. It's partly why, whenever I review a Fanatec product, I can do it safe in the knowledge that my work won't be rendered obsolete anytime soon, because they'll still be selling the same thing years from now. I struggle to think of any mainstream item that Fanatec has genuinely permanently discontinued. The one big thing that makes the V3 different is that it is now 29cm in diameter rather than 27cm that previous versions were. This is an incredibly important change and adjusts the whole character of the wheel when you're driving. It certainly puts it well into my ideal range and makes the V3 much better for me than the prior models ever were. It is a great choice for those coming into the world of Fanatec, but it's also genuinely enticing if you're using one of their earlier Formula models right now and wondering how the V3 might be any better. The other noticeable thing that's changed is that the teeny tiny Tamagotchi screen of the previous formulas has been replaced with a bigger info carrying display. I'll mention the screen later, but long story short, it's a bit of a spare part and it should not be a primary factor when you make your choice. Something we don't have in the V3 are vibration motors in the handle. This was something that earlier Formula wheels did have, and they were kind of nifty as they added some life to the wheel. But in theory, the features become redundant with the introduction of Full Force, Fanatec's high-frequency vibration system, which is delivered through the wheelbase instead. Something to keep in mind, it's like replacing margarine with butter. Technically an upgrade, but still, people need to know the recipe has changed. One thing you must pay attention to with Fanatec wheels, if you don't know by now, is platform compatibility. The wheel that sits before you now can only be used with PC and PlayStation, not Xbox. If you are an Xbox player, then Fanatec does tend to release an Xbox compatible variant given time. But right now, as I record this, there is no V3 Xbox version. So keep that in mind. The compatibility section of the product page on Fanatec's official sites will tell you everything. So, what's it like to use? Well, with the widened diameter and leather grips, it feels excellent in hand. Those grips feel mature. I remember back in 2020 when I bought my first Fanatec steering wheel, it was the Formula V2. After a lifetime of using a basic entry-level Logitech wheel, this felt like pure luxury. It blew my mind, and whilst I've tested dozens of wheels since, I still remember that moment of first contact. The V3 will serve up that same feeling for you if this is to be your first ever Fanatec steering wheel. You're unlikely to be disappointed with this as your first impression. There are tons of buttons and switches on board. This has always been one of the Formula wheel's strengths. 2 thumb encoders, which were too vague and lightweight on previous models, are much improved on the V3 with higher resistance per notch. The 3 rotary switches on the front have been redesigned to hopefully be much less prone to cracking or fracturing. Only time will tell, but that was an issue for the old ones in years past. They feel nice and positive. The shifters are firm yet quiet. I love the shifter attitude on the Formula wheels as they tend to feel punchy yet plush. There are no clutch paddles on the V3 by default. If you will need or want them, then keep in mind that the accessory that you'd need to enable that, the Podium Advanced Paddle Module, is €200. Being a 290mm wheel, you will find this to be in the Goldilocks zone that's perfect for both Formula and GT racing, so if you're into either one, you're well set. Wheel diameter matters greatly. Too small and it can be hard to sense mid-corner subtleties that are so important in sim racing. too large, and it can be hard to react with agility, as well as dulling the force feedback on weaker wheels. Those leather grips were somewhat slippy and low tack when brand new. As I used the wheel more and more, it seemed that the grips bedded in a bit and absorbed my impurities to give them more grip. The rev and flag LEDs are a nice touch and have been a part of a Formula wheel for a long time. You can customize the color and activation metrics of the rev and flag LEDs to suit your style better. It's worth noting that the Formula V3 is only 4.6% heavier than the CSL Elite GT3 wheel, despite having a metal quick release here as opposed to the CSL's composite plastic. If you're on a weaker wheelbase such as the CSL DD, wheel weight and diameter both impact the quality and detail of your force feedback a lot. So the fact that they're so similar in weight is another positive for the V3. It means it's one of the best wheels for the weaker of Fanatec's wheelbases. So lots of good here, lots of improvements, but are there any negatives or disappointments? Well, you'll notice I haven't delved into that screen yet. Don't buy the V3 specifically because it has a screen, especially if you're on console. But even if you're on PC, the screen is unimportant, merely a sprinkle of herbs on the main course, which is the rest of the wheel. It's restrictive in what it can show you, limited to black and white colours, and it wasn't tremendously reliable in doing what it can do either, at least not for me, not right now. You can only choose from 5 pre-built templates which you can't meaningfully customize, and to me at least, all of them are 50-50 in terms of usefulness and relevance, and, in my experience, pretty much 50-50 in terms of whether they automatically load or I have to twiddle the wheel to show the screen that I want. The best word I can use for it is flaky. Despite saving my profile, despite marking favourite templates, it's just hit or miss whether it shows up by itself. The truth is that the screen is powered by the software, and the software is perhaps Fanatec's biggest issue right now. In addition, not every sim shares the information that the screen needs to work. On iRacing, for example, the tyre temperature screen will not show you anything useful. That's not a Fanatec problem, that's just something iRacing doesn't share with accessories like these, no matter the brand. Don't buy the V3 for the screen, but if you absolutely insist, make sure you're going to be able to see what you want to see, or you will be disappointed. Treat it like the side dish that it is, and not a distinct feature. Maybe one day Fanatec will untether the screen, and it suddenly becomes far more useful and present, but I wouldn't bank on it. Just make sure you are on the very latest software and firmware, because they are what seem to be generating most of the trouble for Fanatec customers at the minute, and they must do better with it, as it's rather letting the side down, especially for its newly released products. Lastly, when I got to writing this review, I was going to complain that they didn't include any button caps. Then I checked the what's included section of the product page, and it said button caps. I looked again, and here they are. I completely missed them the first time round. You are forgiven, Fanatec. You didn't do anything wrong here, but I do forgive you. You do get button caps, but you don't get stickers, so they've left it down to you to remember what the encoders and dials are for. But here's a point I'm really making. A colourful button cap and sticker accessory set are available if you want to fully customise and label things, but, wait for it, €40. It was a slap in the face years ago, it still is now. Come on Fanatec, you cannot charge €40 for this in 2026 and not set off the alarm bells in any customer's mind. If they're gouging you for this, then it makes you think what else, even if you aren't. I'm hoping this part of the review is rendered obsolete. To conclude though, I take the view that the V3 has done great things. It's brought the Formula wheel in line with what customers like me wanted from it. Those that have been sim racing for a while and used the Fanatec Formula wheel along the way cried out for it to be just a little bit wider. Because it was already a good wheel, now it's great, making this Fanatec's wisest choice for Formula and GT people. More balanced and central than all the other options in Fanatec's lineup, with nothing extreme or odd about the way it is or what it costs. It's just a good wheel all round, straight down the middle. If you pick anything else, it's going to have to be for a good reason. And thanks for watching. I hope that was informative, entertaining. Any questions, please do comment below. If you've made your mind up, don't forget to get your 5% off at Fanatec with code DannyLee5. And cheers again.